High trust society was not normal throughout the history. Imagine a castle with a very thick walls, lots of guards around, people living peacefully inside, they have their own food, everybody knows each other. That's our high trust society. And then one day, people decided, you know what, it's been so great, we don't need that many guards on walls. How about you come down and live with us? And then they would say, hey, food is okay, but if we grow food outside of our walls, we're going to have more food. Hey, we don't even have to stay here. We can open the gate and just relax. It's fine. You see, that is a high trust society. This is what basically happened. Western world and its population of 800 million people was competing directly for the world dominance with the rest of the world, mainly Asia and the Middle East. You see, and we're talking about nearly 5 billion people versus 800 million. In a Western world, the way we know it, Europe and the UK, America on site for now, is less than 10% of the population. The problem with high trust society is it worked only in a particular time, in particular circumstances, in particular time in the history. And people actually started believing that this is a default mode for people. This is the default of how we can live. See, if you look back historically, it was impossible to have high trust society, right? It was built only around communities because people would live in their small villages or smaller towns and they would have to rely on each other to survive or to prosper. Because of the, pretty much after Second World War, because of the American protection for their own, friends, for their bodies, people started believing that this is it. This is now we have this global community of countries, particularly in the West, which can rely on each other. We can sell to each other. We can just be like each other and live peacefully. And then we're just going to trade with the rest of the world, keeping them as our friends, and we're all going to grow together. Now, the problem is we approached zero trust societies, particularly in China or in anywhere in Middle East, with our naive approach of high trust society. And it all started small, with small steps. The immigration, it was not the reason for it. It was the actual end stage of collapse of the high trust society. Although, in my opinion, no matter what, the high trust society was not possible to keep it forever. It's like with a freedom. Just because you got it or you've been handed it from your ancestors doesn't mean you're going to have it. You need to keep fighting to keep it. This is another thing which people in the West forgot, and we just we dropped the responsibilities from us, and we decided to outsource responsibilities and governance and our own well-being to third party, to politicians, right? Same goes with pensions. People can't imagine living without pensions. Well, that pensions is a fairly new concept. It hasn't been there for many, many years, never been there for centuries. Just because that very particular time in history, since Second World War up until now, we had this very peaceful time, high prosperity, where we could actually come up with welfare state, pensions, high trust society, and just keep going, resigning at the same time with all the common sense measurements to keep us safe. Keeping a strong army, being able to self-defense, being actually responsible for our own decisions and our own safety instead of relying on somebody else. All these things were only possible because of the Pax Americana, so to say, system, which lasted up until now. Unfortunately for all of us in the West, that system has changed and is changing, and it's impossible to maintain high trust society anywhere because we are, as I said, we are facing zero trust society outnumbering us 10-1. And before anyone say, yeah, but that's why we should not have immigrants coming in, well, that was a sort of, quote, peaceful transformation. The alternative, again, looking historically, would be with our weak armies, with Western countries unable, apart from America, to defend themselves, we would basically probably ended up conquered, or some part of it, right? We would be invasion eventually. That's historically, if you look at this is all. There is no, in the universe, there is no void, there's no empty spaces, right? So if we decided to give these things away for comfort and virtue signaling and being, sitting on a high horse looking at everybody else down, what else would we expect it? That's the problem. And I see this, I have comments from the people saying this is the problem we have now. We used to be high trust society. Yes, but in order to be high trust society, you need to have a society which understand the value of high trust society. This means you need to be very disciplined as a society. You need to be very focused on maintaining it. It's not just once we have it, it's going to be here forever, and therefore I can now outsource responsibility for this politician and that politician. This is exactly where we are right now. You see, we started trusting in strangers, in institutions, in system being fair. And the deeper we went into this mad belief, because it's mad because historically there are no, not only that, it's historically every time any society tried to establish that kind of system, it failed. Okay, it's like people trying to tell us the communism this time is going to work. No, same as high trust society, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter if you overprotect yourself. You would have to maintain the strength across the whole planet in order to stay peaceful and feel at peace in your own country, right? Because if you don't do it, these zero trust societies will use it. Eventually they will arm themselves, they'll get better, bigger, more aggressive, they come over. It happens over and over throughout history, but we just forgot. The last couple of generations forgot. They thought this is it. This is the end of history. We can just carry on like this. Everybody is welcome. We all have the same values, etc., etc. That is absolutely not true. And that is the reason why the high trust society would never work in the long term. High trust society happened specifically in the West only. It was fueled by welfare state, growth of comfort, money, debt-based economy, and reliance on cheap workforce from abroad, from other countries. So we basically would create money out of the thin air and buy products, manufactured in other countries where there's a cheap labor, and we just enjoy ourselves, just ride it forever, right? Ride the wave. Now, unfortunately, nothing is it's a huge Ponzi scheme, and you can't carry on forever. So, together with all what's happening across the world geopolitically, we got to the end of this road, and we found ourselves into this situation where nobody can believe in what happens. And I'll give you an example. There's a country in Europe which is going to get through exactly that. It hasn't been there yet, and it's my home country. Well, my home is England, that country I was born, Poland. You see, Poland is often brought as this amazing country, high GDP, whatever growth, very safe. Now, as I keep saying, Poland is about to find out what happens if your high trust society becomes too comfortable and too open and not responsible for their own well-being, when you outsource decisions to politicians which are easily corrupt. Again, we have every single lesson we want throughout the history, but we just don't want to learn it. We don't want to accept it. We just want to cope. And that's what I see in Poland. You see, in Poland, over the last few years, they've accepted millions of people from running from the war. Just over the last few months, because of the law change in Ukraine, there's a hundreds of thousands of people coming in. I think it's about 2,000 people a day coming in to Poland and staying there. You don't have to be a genius or rocket scientist to realize the potential challenges for the country, which allows hundreds of thousands of people come in without any checking and not speaking different language, different culture, similar but still different. The number I'm talking about, like if you bring some of them and slowly, integrate society, then you can try to maintain high trust society, right? But if you just let everybody in, and I'm talking millions and hundreds of thousands in just the last few months, you suddenly exposing yourself to be just changed from within. There is no, you see, Poland and Polish people, as much as they want to cope and refuse to accept it or believe in it. Poland has changed its demographic forever. It's changed right now, this time, probably this year. It's a historical moment for Poland. It never happened in throughout the centuries as much, like maybe a few hundred years ago, where Poland had different kingdoms. Poland has changed its demography right now. So Poland is not Polish as I used to know it anymore. Although Polish people still they don't want to accept it, they don't want to see it, but it's happened already. There's no going back. So if you do that, and of course you already have things happening in Poland, problems, so to say, from different cultures. Once you accept it, once you allow this to happen, there's no going back. And you only accept and allow this to happen because people were comfortable enough to believe that outsourcing decision-making to the politicians, which lie constantly, as we know, the same politicians are being in power, same faces, same names for the last 35 years, lying all the time. Yet Polish people were just comfortable enough to just give them the power again, just let them decide whatever they want for their own benefit. You see, high trust society, it was based on false assumption that it's a permanent state, that somehow we got so elevated, so enlightened as people, that we can now sustain it without doing much. And that is very foolish approach, because not only it shows the ignorance of the Western people of what we are capable as species, as people. It shows ignorance about understanding the history, because these things happened over and over in the past. This is not the first time it's going to happen. This is not the first time the society is being, surprised by sudden or collapse, decline, or just, not even sudden, ongoing decline. It's the ignorance of understanding that we are not the same. There are different cultures across the whole planet which have different ambitions, different plans, and they have different respect between each other. In societies like zero trust societies, for example, China, if you think about it, there's more than 1 billion people in one country. They do not care about a single individual. They do not care about individuals' freedoms, how somebody feels. In China, apparently, they don't even help each other if you fall on the street. There is no, for us in the Western world, a natural reaction would be to approach somebody and help them get up. In China, people don't do it because if you do it, that might bring you actually trouble. You can see videos on the internet. Just Google it even on YouTube where how it works in China, and it's all perfectly normal for them. Nobody sees it as weird. They come to West and they look at us and say that's weird. But in our ignorance, we are thinking, oh well, it's weird, but you get used to it because you're gonna become like us. No, same goes to people coming from the Middle East, from particular religious background, as we know, comes from China, from Asia, from all these countries. And it's not their fault they are like this. It's a Western people's fault that we became so ignorant of our own faith and shortcomings that we allowed this to happen, and we allowed ourselves to believe the history has ended. Now we're going to live this like this forever, and we're just going to grow forever based on this debt-based economy with people working for us all over the world, so we can actually sit back, relax, and make money from passive income. That's insane. And now we have people surprised how this happened and blaming on all other things but themselves. Don't forget, remember this allegory about castle I told you. And then the people living there, right? They decided, hey, too many guards, let's take them out. But let's have more food from the outside. Let's open the gate. Let's just walk around. It's going to be fantastic. And then at the end, they decided that it's going to be a good idea because we have so much of wealth and comfort around us. We can just make our lives so much better if we just stop having our own kids. Okay, so we're going to just enjoy ourselves, enjoy our fruit of our labor, which is not even our labor, it's just our money, and we're just going to have a good time. We're going to just take pictures and record our videos of it. And at some point, when these people will start coming, you're going to say, hey, we have no kids. We can't maintain. Even if we would want to close the gate for the castle, we don't have enough army to protect ourselves. We don't have enough people to go to the army to train them to protect ourselves. Nobody cares. You have people the elderly lost all the respect. They were just basically driven away from the society, locked out in some places, again, with the outsourced responsibilities for them. Parents, grandparents, they were locked out in these homes where they were looked after by the strangers, outsiders, foreigners. And we thought we're just going to pay for it. It's going to be great. And once a month, we're going to say hello just out of the convenience. We don't want to get inconvenient in our lives, right? But that is decisions. These decisions were made across the West by us, by the people. Maybe not even consciously, but that's the way. If we read history books, it would not be difficult to understand where we're heading to 10, 20, 30 or 50 years ago. High trust society only works if shared norms exist. If you have a new group enters with different norms, then there's a friction appears. So if you had a strong state, they would know what to do if there was a trust. And you would be able to say, well, there are two options. You either become part of us, and this is what you have to do, and you're going to have to prove yourself over time, and we're going to be looking at you, watching you, or you're going to have to carry on somewhere else. It's just the way it was throughout the history. We became now too sensitive to this, right? And we sort of gave this power to say what this is wrong to people and amplified it through social media and the tech. But it is what it is now. You see, the psychological effect right now, what we see because of the high trust society collapse, is you have confusion and nostalgia. And you can say nostalgia was part of every generation. Every generation will look back thinking how good it was. But the difference right now is the speed of change and the size of maybe the speed of change and the amount of changes we see in our everyday life is something it's hard to cope with. We can't afford things as we used to. We don't trust anything, anyone. We don't trust family. We don't trust friends. We don't trust police. We don't trust army. We don't trust police officers. Leaders, political leadership, political leaders. We don't trust anyone. We don't trust anyone and anything. We just want to be left alone, and that itself is a losing strategy. People are feeling that the change is coming. It's just that change has already arrived. Now, with the we've lost trust, and the society being fragmented as what it is in the West now, it's only going to get worse until it can get a bit more stable. For somebody like me living in the UK, I think having a country which is an island is an advantage, because at least we have something to work with. In Europe, it can go anyway. You see, if you look back again throughout history, not that long time ago, countries would change their borders quite often. One day you'll be part of one kingdom, I don't know, Prussia, and then next month you're living in a different country. You're still the same place, but it's part of a different country, different culture, different language. You would have to just adapt. And it was happening over and over. So I wouldn't despair. I would just advise maybe, or I would encourage people to just look into it openly. Be brave, look into it, accept the change has happened, accept it was your fault, my fault, others in the West, and just go on. Life will continue, with your approval or not, with your neighbors, doesn't matter who your neighbor is, they will continue. We all feel betrayed by institutions, by our leaders, but we should use it as a lesson to strengthen our own community, to get people around you closer, friends, family, people you can trust, people you can actually speak same values, same language. And we should definitely expect from our leaders to enforce law and order, to actually unite people, not by speaking or by giving promises, false promises, or by overtaxing and taxing us more, by actually telling us what are the values we want to maintain, what are the values of this country. You either respect it and you follow it, and you can be part of it, either as a native or maybe as an immigrant. Maybe. I'm an immigrant, so I'm just saying it. If you don't like it, I understand. But again, like I said, it's no going back. So we can only plan about how to go ahead about this, and maybe that would be, I think, sensible thing to do. You're going to have to be part of us, and only then you can be part of us, or there's a door. And I think the time of compassion and being nice and ignorant is done. I think many more people are seeing it, and we should be able to very soon just look into ourselves, into mirrors, saying, look, tough times require tough decisions, and we kind of feel it already. We kind of see it in Europe's happening and other else, but it's a bit late, unfortunately. But now we have what we have. We have to deal with it. So stay positive. Look after your own people, your own community. Stay open. Don't judge people just because of the way they look or speak. Be wary of people. Yeah, you don't have to accept or love everyone. You don't have to be friend with me. But if I respect your rules, your rules, your law, I want to be contributing openly, then maybe you should give us a chance, and then maybe we can just move ahead as a new unity, because going back again is just not possible, and historically it's just the way it is. So I think it would be probably a little bit insane to expect that we live in some specific times which historically is going to be different than always. No, it's always the same. That's it. Let me know what you think. I don't want this video to sound very pessimistic or not optimistic. It's just neutral video, the way it is, the way I see it, and I think this is the most balanced way to see things. It's always good not to be extreme and either too much optimistic or too much pessimistic. But the future will require our agreeing on what we want to believe in, who is going to lead us and where, and how can we actually speak to each other, be together. So look after your own people, your own community, build your community if you can. Join my own community, which there's a place you can actually talk to me more often than just on YouTube. You can find link down in the description. That community is not, don't expect me to be there and just talking to keeping you entertained. This is the place you can actually join and talk to me frequently. And you can meet me in the real life. You can talk business. We can talk family. With any topic, there's nothing is off the table. We can talk about anything outside of the YouTube, which is it's just not. It's too hard for me. I've got thousands of comments. I can only answer one comment, and then it just disappears, and I got another one. So it's hard to keep the conversation going. So if you want to have community with conversation with me and with people like-minded, please do join my community. If not, just stay here. Please leave me a like if you like this video. Consider subscribing to my channel if you're not subscribing yet. If you disagree with what I said, I would love to hear your opinion. Please just leave your opinion. Don't be triggered, Polish guys saying, "Oh, you're stupid. Poland is better because UK has got incidents." Like, yeah, we know that. It's just, let's have a conversation, because it's time. It's time to have this conversation and to actually face the reality of where we are. And trust me, if you triggered Polish person, just calm down and listen to what I said. Look around you. Look around Poland. See what happened. What's happening there right now. Anyways, it's going to be okay. One way or another. Stay positive. Thank you so much for watching this video, for your time, for your likes, for all your support. Have a great day. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.